the workforce gap is real. Some statistics to go through as I work around this screen here. 7.6 million, that's the number of unfulfilled jobs in this country, operations-related positions, but only 6.5 million people looking for work. We have a million shortage. 10 million is the shortfall over the next 10 years. We are also an aging society. 1 in 5 Americans will be 65 or older by 2030. 50% of operations personnel are set to retire in the next 10 years. Picture looking around your organization, look around your operations team, your maintenance professional team, and half of them are going to be gone in the next 10 years. 25%, a pretty significant percentage, are made up by Generation Z. These are the younger generation by the year 2022. So we have major changes that are coming or are already starting. It's the first time in ever we have 5 generations working side by side with one another. If you look on the right-hand side, you can kind of see the breakdown. Obviously, the traditionalists is a very small number of them, but they're still around, and they have an amazing wealth of information that they've built up in their careers, all the way down to this Gen Z, the youngest generation. So you've got different styles. You've got different ways people communicate with one another, but you also have amazing opportunities that we can work together as a group. Susan and Chuck. Every organization has a Susan and a Chuck. You might be the Susan or Chuck watching this webinar today. Susan, she knows every ins and outs of your maintenance team. She knows every work order. She knows every supplier, every vendor. She knows everywhere the assets are throughout the facility. She's sort of the lifeblood of your organization from that administrative office standpoint. Chuck is the guy who's been there for 20, 30, 40 plus years. Chuck's the guy that can change that filter blindfolded in a hurricane if he needs to. Chuck's the guy you go to when you're not sure how to get your job done. We need to honor and capture the Susans and Chucks of your organization because they have amazing information to give us, and they're not going to be around working for a whole lot longer. So is your workforce keeping you up at night? How are we going to replace those soon-to-be retiring employees? How are we going to handle the competition for skilled labor? There's a lot of openings and not enough people looking for these. How are you going to find those next well-qualified technicians? How are you going to expand your skills to grow and do your best work and increase your career? And how are you going to get your team to learn these technologies? We'll go over all of these in the presentation today. So let's start with how do you fill the gaps in your workforce? Looking at some stats again, 25%, a quarter of your staff is going to be on the much young side. Fortunately, that group is the most likely to 21, 25-year-olds are most likely to be looking for mentoring opportunities, but followed by, interestingly enough, the 50-plus-year-old crowd. Because the older generation, to get to know the modern technologies and so forth, are the second group that will be most likely to go through mentoring to learn these new and changing workforce technologies. 86% of employees cite poor communication for workplace failure. That's a particular pet peeve of mine. Poor communication is an egregious sin when it comes to how you treat your team. And because you have 5 generations theoretically working together, how you communicate to that young kid who's in the break room next to the person who's in their more senior years, we have to really learn how to communicate with these people, how to train them, how to mentor them, so we can really ensure that they're happy in their positions and they stay around and do their best work.